Good evening. This is a public meeting of the Lowell Zoning Board of Appeals for November 26, 2012. I would ask everyone that plans on speaking tonight on a petition that you please sign in at the podium before addressing the board. Our first matter before us is under new business. This is ZB 2012-47. The petition is a special permit under telecommunications. The applicant is Metro PCS Massachusetts LLC. Property is located at 900 Chelmsford Street, and the petition is to attach additional dish antennas and connect them to remote radio heads at an existing telecommunication facility location pursuant to section 7.6 of the zoning ordinance. Is there a representative of Metro PCS? Yes, sir.
Andy Candiello here on behalf of Metro PCS. I have a poster here. Would you like me to place that in a certain location, or if at all necessary?
Yeah, you could use, do you want to use this one here? Do you want to give us just a brief overview of
Sure.
what you're doing?
If you find it necessary, if any members of the public find it necessary to look at the larger prints, I'm happy to show them. So,
okay, well, we'll find out if anybody's here.
As I mentioned, my name is Andy Candiello here on behalf of Metro PCS for a special permit application. Subject property is 900 Chelmsford Street. What we're proposing to do is add 7 dish antennas to our existing facility at that location. Metro PCS currently holds a lease agreement and permits to operate a wireless communications facility at this location. They've been there for a few years operating there and have recently undergone a nationwide initiative to convert to a fiber or microwave-based fiber backhaul source. In layman's terms, it's basically converting from a standard T1 line to a fiber source, which is enabling the cell phone companies to, have their customers use the 4G technologies, smartphones with all the data that's associated with these types of technologies are essential. The Crosspoint building serves as a hub location due to its overall high height and central location. It's at a major intersection of highways. Therefore, it's critical to our network that this facility move forward as planned. The basics of the proposal. 4 of the antennas will be located on a proposed ballast frame, which is about 10 feet tall, located on the eastern portion of the building. This is towards the rear of the building if you're looking at it from the Lowell connector. Basically, 4 of the dishes will be located in that location. The other 3 will be located on the facade of the building. Those will be flush mounted as well as they'll be painted to match the facade of the building. So in an effort to, aid in the aesthetic appearance. So also, as part of this proposal, Metro PCS chose to address a couple of performance issues with the current configuration of the site. One of the antennas that was originally installed was experiencing shadowing from a corner of the building and resulting in a dead spot. So as part of this application, they proposed to relocate that panel antenna to an alternate location in the building, which the property owner has consented to. In addition to those items, also looking to install a microwave radio cabinet inside the equipment room, which is located on the top floor. The cabinet won't be seen from the exterior, no sort of sound or won't cause any sort of interruption to the building or cause any sort of visual change. So that's essentially the proposal. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. I'm sure you have some.
Well, I think this board has seen a few of the carriers come in here now recently to do these upgrades. I guess everybody wants to keep ahead of the next guy. But so as far as, you mentioned you're adding, is it seven new panels, or are they, if they're not panels, they might be, you might call them something else, but are you changing those out, or are you actually adding new equipment?
Basically, Metro's existing facility consists of 6 panel antennas.
Yep.
Those are going to remain. As I mentioned, one will be relocated,
Right.
but those 6 will remain. And this is 7 dish antennas, which are slightly different from the panel antennas that will be added to the facility.
Okay. And you mentioned the landlord is in agreement with this, because I think there's quite a few different pieces of equipment up there now, right?
Yeah, there's quite a bit of equipment up there, and we're working through the property owner's management company, who facilitates all of the lease negotiations and.
Is any of the current equipment co-located, or do they have their own standalone? Are they, is the equipment on their own currently existing equipment that's there? Is there any co-location at all?
Well, we would consider the whole building a co-location site, meaning everybody's using the same structure.
Yeah.
So in that respect, it is, in alignment with the objectives of the wireless communications bylaw.
Okay. Do you have anything else you want to add at this point?
Not at this point.
Okay, I think what I'll do is I'll open it up to the public first, and then we'll move to the board. Is there anyone here that'd like to speak in favor of this petition? In favor? In favor? Hearing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. Anyone here like to speak in opposition? 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 Hearing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. I'd like to open it up to the board. Dennis?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I just have a question about the tower. I think that what you're doing here makes a lot of sense, and I think that painting them out to match the building works as good as it can, but the only thing that isn't hidden well is this little tower element that you're adding that's about 10 feet high. So there are parts of the building that are higher than that, and we're not attaching to that. We're making this a standalone out on the corner. I just would like to understand why you chose to use that method versus mounting it to the building pieces that are the same height.
Sure. Basically, when we were up on top of the roof looking at coming up with the plan for this design, we tried to utilize existing mounts as much as possible. You'll notice that 2 out of the 3 facade-mounted antennas are utilizing existing pipe mounts. One of them needs a new pipe. The reason for the 10-foot ballast frame is the microwave technology operates on a line-of-sight basis. So if there was somebody up there walking around on the roof, it could and were to walk in front of this antenna, for one, that would be unsafe for the person to stand directly in front of the antenna. That's why they elevate them slightly. And also it would cause disruption to the line-of-sight signal. If you can picture, each dish is pointing to another site, which also has a dish, so they're pointing at each other and talking back and forth. And they have to be aligned they have to be aligned exactly in order to create that line of communication. If anything is in the way of that, it disrupts the communication, such as, a person walking in front of it, that type of thing. That portion of the building also benefits from a parapet wall. It's about, don't quote me on this, probably about 4 feet tall. So not all of that, and then given the angle that you're looking up at the building, you're not going to see all 10 feet of that ballast.
How far from the parapet wall is it being placed? Just so there's more of a cutoff view maybe, so you're not noticing it quite. I just want to make sure we're doing everything we can to minimize the aesthetic disruption. Not that we haven't already got a lot of stuff going on up there, but I just want to see if there's anything we can do.
Let's see, I'm trying to find the...
It looks like it's relatively close in this A1 drawing.
Yeah, I would say it's probably less than 10 feet from the edge based on this, and that's an estimate, but given this scale, it's probably about maybe 8 feet.
And so can we move it closer to the center of that tower versus right close to the edge of the parapet, only because you'd cut off some of the sight line to that tower for, You know,
I do recall there being quite a bit of miscellaneous pieces of equipment there, a couple of dog houses for cabling, and other items in there. So I can certainly ask our engineers if they can move it more centrally. I don't know if I can guarantee it, though.
I just think it would help with the population that's using the parking lot, walking around the building, looking up, you're not gonna be seeing these, they're not the prettiest things, you know, they work great, I'm glad they're there, but the
Certainly.
more we can do to enhance the aesthetics of the surroundings, I think the better. Okay, but that's the perfect place to do this stuff, and I'm glad they're there, so,
Okay.
thank you.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Kevin?
I don't have any further comments, Mr. Chairman. I think this building's a good spot for these telecommunication towers, so I think it's a good use of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Gary?
Through you, Mr. Chairman. Just, I want to thank the petitioner for a very outlined, detailed package, which is something we always look at here at the zoning board, that everything is in place. Just have one quick question that relates to the side mount as opposed to configuring towers. Is it range? Is it proportionately more beneficial to have side mount for range on the side of the facade of the building, because you're adding additional?
No, they operate the same regardless of where they're located. Basically, the reason we did that, there were existing mounts available in certain locations, and they were right next to Metro PCS's existing equipment, so essentially they would fall within their existing lease area and lease rights, and that's really the only reason we placed them in those locations.
So in essence, it's a system upgrade in existing panel structures.
I'm sorry?
It would be an existing upgrade.
Exactly, yeah, this would
Okay.
be enhancing our existing operations.
Okay, that clarifies it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Corey?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to echo a few of the comments of the board members, preferably what the chairman stated earlier, how we've seen just about all these cell phone companies in the last 6 months to a year doing upgrades. Is this more or less for internet purposes, may I ask, or?
Yeah, it's bringing a microwave or a fiber-based microwave network to a carrier network enables the carrier to process all the data that's required for email transactions, internet access on your smartphone. All of that requires a huge amount of bandwidth on the backside of a cell site. So what was happening is we're kind of playing catch up more or less to today's technologies, bringing the networks on par with what people are demanding on their phones, as far as high volume data traffic. These upgrades enable the sites to process all of that data without causing delay or drop calls or anything like that.
Okay, yeah, and I believe one company was already in here, if I remember correctly, doing upgrades on this tower, because there's several carriers located here. For good reason. This is where I'd like to see all of these located. Frankly, it's a very high-rise structure, and and what Dennis has stated earlier, some of the equipment is on the edge a little more. If you can, research and see what you can do on the issues he mentioned, I'm not going to hold you to it due to the size of the structure. If it was a 3-4-story building, I think we'd have an issue. But with the size of this building, I really don't see a problem. So I do support the petition. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Corey. Van? Oh, I'm sorry. Melissa?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening. I also agree that I thought this application was pretty thorough, and you definitely picked the right spot to put it on there. My colleague mentioned that there's different carriers also on that building. Do you know if there's any disruptions or interruptions with those companies after installing the 7 dishes? Sorry.
No, we don't anticipate any interference issues. Because all the carriers are FCC licensed, they have to operate within their certain specific range of frequencies. And the dish equipment is no different. They're assigned a certain frequency range, and it actually gets even more specific for the dish antennas, where they have to actually register each dish antenna in the shot. So it's all highly regulated I assure you.
Thank you for explaining that. I'm not as familiar with these.
You're welcome.
Otherwise, I support this petition. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Melissa. Van?
The only question or comment I had was, after you install this, does like the rain or the weather or anything affects it, like the maintenance or anything like that, how's the maintenance done or upkept?
Well, they do require maintenance, but the technologies have gotten better over time. In the past, the microwave technologies were a lot more, or the dish antenna technologies were a lot more easily affected by climate, and they had maintenance issues. But things have improved, and they're a lot more self-sufficient. They really require little maintenance, and they perform to the standards of a landline connection now, or a direct fiber source. They perform at the same level quality standards as those types of connections. So they actually perform very well, and require little maintenance and are really unaffected by the weather. So
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Van. Well, as I mentioned earlier, we've had probably just about every carrier at this point that's done some upgrading, and so I think this is consistent with our past decisions. And I think you also mentioned that this tower, we'll call it the tower, is actually probably the best spot in the city to locate this equipment. So it is on a structure that I know this board would support, that for these further upgrades that'll probably be coming with other carriers. So with that said, I believe the applicant has met all the special permit conditions. And if there's any conditions anybody has, if not, can I have a motion, please?
Make a motion to approve.
Have a second?
Second motion?
Have a roll call?
Mr. Ahern? Approve. Mr. Bailey?
Approve.
Mr. Belanger?
Approve.
Mr. McCarthy?
Approve?
Mr. Perrin?
Approve.
Okay, sir, you've been approved with the special permit. Wish you best of luck.
thank you for your
Thank
time.
you.
Have a nice night.
Thank you.
No conditions, that's why I did.
Okay, our next matter before us is ZB 2012-48. This is a special permit for signs. The applicant is TRSS CCHP Trust. The property is located at 282 Westford Street, and the petition is to replace the existing sign face lenses as well as paint the existing pole and frame for illuminated signage for K Pharmacy pursuant to Section 6.3 of the zoning ordinance. Is there a representative of TRS here, please? Yes, sir.
Yes, good evening. My name's Adam Charters. I'm actually the general contractor
Okay.
for the owners that were doing the work. We just built the pharmacy. And like you said, the reason why we're here tonight is there was an existing sign on site when the owners purchased the property. And basically what we're trying to do is just replace the lenses on the sign, repaint the frame, and replace the lighting inside so it all works. Just basically giving an upgrade to what was there.
Okay.
So that's why we're here.
Are you planning on changing the size of the sign?
Nope,
Okay.
just the frame's actually staying intact. We're just pulling it apart to put a new face lens on each side.
Okay. And this project's always been before the planning board, is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So, Aaron, if this is approved, do we need to condition the planning board's conditions if we have any at all? Or-
For a project like this, where it's a special permit that deals solely with signage,
I would say no. It's only in the case where it's a special permit under Article 12 or a special permit that has some specific relevance to the use. So not in this case because it's so,
Yep.
it's very, very much tied to the signage itself. However, I will say that the site plan we worked closely with the applicant on this project to make sure that the site circulation and the layout worked very well, and that the landscaping integrated well with the neighborhood as well as the proposed building, and so that they had to kind of work around the location of the signage as a part of that was a consideration.
Thank you. So pretty much, you're going to work with the existing pole, the existing frame that's on top, no changes. It's not going any higher, not going any lower. Okay. Anything else you want to add at this point?
No, obviously, it's just, the only change is gonna be, it's their logo, their name now, from what it was before, the previous owner.
Okay, and are they staying with the same logo that's on the building?
No, I submitted what the sign design is. It's just gonna say K Pharmacy, and then, I don't know, it should be in the packet, but this is the new logo. I can give you a copy of that too if you need it.
Okay, so Aaron, did we receive?
That was submitted with the site application. It's the same one that was in the packet.
I don't seem to have it in my package. I don't know about any other members.
No.
I have a few copies with me, if you'd like me to give them to you.
Yeah, that's why I asked. I didn't,
Yeah, if you have extra copies, then that'd be good.
I have 5 more with me.
Oh, no, that's the other one there on Plain Street, yeah.
okay. And what's your plan on illumination?
Just replacing it's gonna be illuminated within the sign, so the lens will light up at night. Previously, it was already that way as well. We're just replacing some of the guts of the sign, just because they were old.
And what's the hours that the sign will actually be on?
I don't know.
Does the owner have any idea what the business hours will be?
The owner's saying no earlier than 9 is how late it'll be illuminated till.
Okay. So 9 p.m. would be the latest? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, anything else you'd like to add at this point?
Nope, that's it.
Thank you. I'm going to open up to the public right now.
Okay.
Anyone here that'd like to speak in favor of this petition? In favor? In favor? Hearing none, that portion of public hearing is closed. Anyone that'd like to speak in opposition? Opposition and opposition. Hearing none, that portion of public hearing is closed. I'd like to open up to the board. Dennis.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chairman. We got some comments back from the Department of Planning and Development, and one of the comments I really liked, and I'm just going to ask if it's possible that you could consider, because I think it'd be an improvement. I really agree with the DPD on this. The frame and the column you have painted red, and I think that that's probably not as successful a color as black would be. I think that a black frame and a black column would blend better with the streetscape and highlight the logo even better. And I think that's a worthy comment. And I was just wondering if you were open to changing that color from red to black.
I have to consult with the owners, but Howard, what he's saying is the pole to black instead of red.
Okay, since we got that, how about the frame as well? So column and frame around it would be black. I think that that's a good win there. And I think the project looks great. I'm glad that the investment was made on that site, and I really think that it's a nice addition to the Couple Square area there. So, thank you. No further comments.
Thank you, Dennis. Kevin?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I agree. I mean, it's a sign that's existing. I don't see any major issues with it. I had the same thought as Dennis driving by there today, that black, I think, would be a better alternative than the neon red. So if we can stick with the black, I appreciate that. Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you, Kevin. Gary?
No comments, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Corey?
I'm in agreement with my colleagues, Mr. Chairman. I think you've done a great job at that site. I see a lot of money's been put in, and that street's really coming along. But, Joe, question to you. Now, even, basically, you know, their petition is in front of us here. It's an existing pole, existing sign. They're not changing, they're not enlarging anything. I'm sorry. They're not making any upgrades to sign. I mean, why are they here? I mean, why does the petitioner have to spend this kind of money?
Right, so,
It's existing, you know, I don't see an issue. I'm not complaining about doing my job whatsoever, but I just hate to see this small business putting this kind of money out front when, you know, it's already there, and they're just refacing it, basically. So what can we do about it?
right, so this is one of the things that the zoning board has addressed in the past with the automatic condition that any change to any signage must be reviewed and approved by the zoning board of appeals. That has been removed. That's one thing that through the action of the board we've done. When there's been a sign like this that has been not operated in quite some time, up to at least a year, it's something that does need to go back before the zoning board, because it has been basically that the use of the sign, just the same as the use itself that it supports, has been vacated over a period of time. So there needs to be, if it's a special permit, that needs to be in existence to support internal illumination, that they need to seek that and receive that. The sign itself, the size, the height, the square footage of the sign, if it was non-illuminated, and I don't think in this case it is actually larger than what's allowed in the zoning code, it would be considered an existing non-conforming structure.
Correct.
So there would be no need if it's not illuminated. But because illumination is something that can be turned on off rather easily, and it is when a use is gone,
Yep.
vacant for a period of time. That's why they would need to come back and seek that special permit once again.
Okay, well, I think it's something that maybe we can look at after the first of the year. I'm not saying, you know, we could let these businesses do what they want, but, you know, they should work with DPD, and they can help with the color schemes and stuff like that. But when they're making no changes that really justifies them being here, just, I think, a burden on small businesses. So
Yeah.
we can take a look at that the first of the year. I think that'd be great.
As the board knows, we've been working on a sign code change for quite some time, and it is going to be
Years,
back on
yes.
the agenda in the new year.
Yeah, okay.
And I think it's something that's worth absolutely considering, particularly in this business
Well,
district.
this is on the top of my agenda, because this is, I think, a kind of a wasteful money for the petitioner who's already invested. I don't know how much money there, so it's something we can address in the future.
They've been a great group to work with, and we appreciate the work that they've done. I think it's
Excellent.
gonna be a great
Thank you very
project.
much.
Thank you, Corey. Melissa?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to say to the applicant, thank you for working with the city and DPD. It makes this process a little easier. I also agree with my colleague about the black frame. I think it'll help the sign pop out a little bit more. Otherwise, good luck with everything, and I support the petition.
Thank you, Melissa. Van?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just have a couple of questions. The bowl and the grinding stick, is that representative of something specific, like a cultural thing? I'm just curious.
Yeah, being a pharmacy, it's, forget the name of it. Was it Morrison? I forget what it's called, but it's what, a symbol of, you know, them crushing up maybe the pills or something in the past. It's an old pharmacy symbol.
Okay, cool. Oh, thank you. And I respectfully disagree with some of my colleagues. I like the red frame and the red outline personally. So besides that, I think this is a good project. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Okay, Van. Thank you. Okay, so I pretty much concur with each of the other members' comments. I mean, obviously, this gentleman's spent quite a few dollars rehabbing that whole corner there, and now that we're down to a sign, I think we need to do the right thing, and I think, Aaron, your point about the sign that Corey had, I think it's similar to what we had, not the same scale, but what we ran into on Pine Street with the, in fact, he's a pharmacy also, I think. Small storefront. I believe he wasn't going to have any illumination, so I believe we came back to, he didn't even have to come before us again, if I have the story straight. I thought we went through that. You weren't here, Joe was here, but I think you, or it might have been Dennis that raised that issue about, because there was no illumination.
Correct.
If I recall. I'm not looking to get this all tied up, but
Okay.
just trying to address kind of what Corey was getting to, that we ran into a similar situation. So, I believe we have a couple of conditions, sir, in regards to this approval. One was the hours of operation or the sign being on, and I heard 9 o'clock the sign will come off, so no illumination after 9 o'clock.
Okay.
And the other condition was the column and the frame would be black instead of red. Anybody else have any other comments before I have a motion? Okay, could I have a motion, please?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve ZB 2012-48, special permit at 282 Westwood Street with the following conditions. 1, hours of illumination are no later than 9 p.m. And 2, change the color of the column and the frame from red to black.
Could I have a second?
Second.
Could I have a roll call?
Mr. Ahern?
Approve.
Mr. Bailey?
Approve with conditions.
Mr. Belanger?
Approve with conditions.
Mr. McCarthy?
Approve with conditions?
Mr. Perrin?
Approve with conditions.
Okay, sir, been approved with conditions. Wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Good evening. Hey, can I borrow one of these from you?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, thank you. Yeah, next matter before us is ZB 2012-49. The petition is a special permit. Under signs, the applicant is Emblems Clothing and Footwear. The property is located at 211 Plain Street, and the petition is to install new internally illuminated signage for Emblems pursuant to Section 6.3 of the zoning ordinance. Good evening, sir. How are you?
How you doing? Alan Esposito from Signs Unlimited in Derby, Connecticut. I'm here representing Evelyn's. Actually, I'm under the impression we're just here for the illumination end of it. We did pull our sign permit, but we were told to get it illuminated, we had to come before the board for this special exception here.
Okay.
So I don't want anybody to think there's not a permit. There's a permit pulled on the sign that's up.
Okay. So anything else you want to tell us about
Nope, it's
the
just
illumination?
channel letters consistent with the whole shopping center.
Okay. Now, Aaron, did this gentleman see comments from the city at all? You know?
Yes, I believe the comments were forwarded via email to the applicant.
The only comments that Joe had brought to my attention was that the logo boxes on them, how often they change. They don't change. They stay like that. That's their image. That's all Evelyn stores have the same Evelyn's with the two icons on each side. Joe didn't know if every 6 months or 3 months they would change and put a different vendor up there. They don't. These icons stay.
Okay, so, so the logos will stay in place?
Yeah.
There's no
There's no changing out. And
Okay. Aaron, is that something that we should consider on a condition, or was that just,
That is a criteria or a performance criteria standard that the zoning board can place on an approval. They can restrict the size, the timing, and frequency that these sorts of logos are switched out.
Yep.
The zoning code generally wants to, in its requirements, tries to minimize the size of logos not directly related to the business, meaning that Eblins is a logo of the business, so of course that logo is going to be the primary element in the sign. our sign code seeks to minimize additional logos so that you don't have this kind of smattering of logos and confusion with signage. So that's something that the zoning board can certainly restrict in a special permit review.
Okay, so we can, we can put a condition on regarding the logo panels. Okay,
Yes.
okay. All right, do you have anything else you want to add, sir, at this point? Okay. Going to open it up to the board, open it to the public. Anyone here like to speak in favor of this petition? In favor, hearing none. That portion of public hearing is closed. Anyone like to speak in opposition? Opposition. Hearing none, that portion of public hearing is closed. I'd like to open up to the board. Dennis?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, this signage only gets better and better. I think that this signage package is spot on as far as the graphics, especially the fact that you have two logos on black or ovals so that they balance each other. I think that makes a lot of sense, and it's a nice simple line done in LED, channel letters,
Thank you.
nicely scaled to the facade. I think that it's a very well done package graphically, I think. I'm glad that's the image for your company, and I think
thank you.
it's very nicely done. And I think that the fact that you've got the logos on these black ovals, I think really does take the problem of
The harshness
different logos on the same sign and makes it work, I think, for you. So I have nothing but positive things to say about this, so thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Kevin?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I agree with Dennis. I think this is a nice streamlined sign. I think the whole plaza and all has done a good job with their signage, so I'm in support of it. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Gary?
I have no questions.
Thank you, Gary. Corey?
No comment, Mr. Chairman.
Melissa?
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I agree, this sign is very streamlined and clean. Do you have the times that this sign would be illuminated?
I could just say consistent with the plaza,
Okay.
just everybody's,
I don't know if the board wants to entertain a time limit or something. I don't know what the plaza's policies are at this time.
Yeah.
The other question is, I don't know if I'm looking at the sign correctly. Is it correct that it's just going to be black and white? Is that correct?
yes, black and white, yes.
Okay. And then, so the Eblens would actually be,
I think this one's white, right? Some stores are red, some are white, all depends on
okay,
the facade.
okay, just want to make sure of that. Okay. Otherwise, I approve this, or I agree with this petition. I would just want to be careful about the times
Yep.
it's illuminated. Thank you.
So I can answer that for you, Melissa. We've been pretty consistent with treating the site as a totality as far as turn-off time. In fact, Gary and I were just having that conversation, so we won't condition when the lights need to come off. Okay, you're welcome. Van?
No comments, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Okay, so I believe as far as the permitting goes, that the applicant has met the conditions of the permitting. I appreciate the comment about you've already went out and got your permit, and this is just for the illumination. I believe the only condition we'll have is around the comment from the city regarding the logo panels. And if you have nothing else to add at this point, okay, could I have a motion, please?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve ZB 2012-49, a special permit at 211 Plain Street with the following condition. The additional logo panels to remain as submitted in the plan as shown as 2 black vinyl overlay, one shown as Nike, one shown as Adidas.
Could I have a second?
Second motion?
Could I have a roll call?
Mr. Ahern,
Approve with conditions.
Mr. Bailey,
Approved with conditions.
Mr. Belanger,
Approve with conditions.
Mr. McCarthy,
Approve with conditions.
Mr. Perrin.
Approve with conditions.
Okay, sir, you've been approved with conditions. Wish you the best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you. If I could just make one comment, I go to a lot of town boards for meetings. This building is a gem.
Yeah.
This building's gorgeous. That piece of woodwork right back there is incredible.
Well, I agree with you. We might need some mittens, though, but that's okay.
I just wanted people to know, it gets away from people.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, our next matter before us is ZB 2012-50. The petitions of variance. The applicant is Neomia Nunez. Property is located at 94 Catherine Drive. And the petition is to have an in-ground pool within the rear yard setback requirement pursuant to section 5.1 of the zoning ordinance. Good evening, ma'am. How are you?
Good evening.
I apologize if I butchered your first name, but,
I'm quite used to it.
oh, okay. That makes me feel better. Okay, what would you like to tell us about your petition, ma'am?
When I first purchased the home, there was no pool there. We were actually looking for a home with a pool. We found out we could put one in. We hired a licensed surveyor to come out and measure the property. We hired a respectable pool company, been around for 35 years. And apparently when they were digging some of the landscaping, they dug up one of the markers in the back corner. And then they proceeded to put the pool 1.25 feet or 1.5 feet too close to the back property line. I wasn't aware of this until I refinanced a couple of years ago. And I'm hoping to get this variance so that in the future when I put my home on the market, it won't be an issue.
Well, you definitely answered one of the questions I was going to ask you, because I know one of the things I noticed is the shape of your lot. All the lots are basically at an angle, and I was curious if you ever had it surveyed. And who owns the land behind all the homes on that side of the street?
That's Lowell Conservation Land.
Okay. So there's not going to be any building going on back there or anything else. So I'm glad you mentioned that. I was curious if you ever had it surveyed.
Yes.
And
I tried to do everything the right way. We actually had a shed that when we purchased the home was not on the property. It was on conservation land. And we paid $1,200 to have it moved. So I tried to make everything so that when I turn around to sell the home, it won't be something that the potential buyer could, walk away from.
Sure. Okay. And you've been there since 2008, if I recall?
2008, correct.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else you'd like to add at this point?
At this point, I was hoping that the pool company had said that they'd have a representative here, but I'm by myself.
Yeah.
So I really, this isn't something that I've ever had to do. I'm a little bit nervous, and the people that were going to be here to help me
Yep.
apparently had something better to do this evening, so.
Yeah. Well, you're doing fine
Thank
on
you.
your own, so relax, don't get all nerved up. We're probably more nervous than you are, so don't get nervous. Is that it? Anything else at this point?
That's pretty much it, sir.
Okay, so I'm going to go to the public again, which maybe somebody will jump up. Anyone here like to speak in favor of this petition? In favor? Please jump up. No. Anyone here that'd like to speak in opposition? Opposition? Hearing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. I'd like to open it up to the board. Dennis.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I think the fact that this abuts conservation land, and it's really only talking about 1 foot 4 inches in a corner, I think that it's not something that's difficult to approve, at least from my opinion. And I'm glad the pool makes sense with the house architecturally, it aligns, so it's unfortunate that it's so close to being right, but it's not. But
Right.
the fact that you're up against conservation land, I think, is not going to create any issues for future use of that neighbor or whatever develops back there. So I don't see any issues. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Kevin.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I agree. I don't see any concerns for future people, neighbors or anything of the like. allowing this variance to go through. So I'm in agreement.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Gary?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I agree. I see no need to put any hardship on the current owner of this property for 1 foot setback, with the abutment property being proposed woodlands and the lake, so that's all.
Thank you, Gary. Corey?
I'm in agreement with my colleagues, Mr. Chairman. I think the petitioner has done everything right, and a mistake was made somewhere along the line. That's certainly no fault of hers. I was able to get on the property today. Somebody was home, and it's a very well-maintained home. It's a nice yard, and I think the petitioner must be enjoying it immensely, and I'd like to keep up that enjoyment for her. So I do support it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Corey. Melissa?
I also agree with everyone, Mr. Chairman. I think all the decision criteria and prerequisites were met, and so I support this variance as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And Van?
I agree with all my colleagues. It's just 1 foot, so it's not a big deal, I think. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm in total agreement with the rest of the board members. I believe the facts speak for themselves, and with that said, could I have a motion, please?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve ZB 2012-50 for a variance at 94 Catherine Drive.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a roll call?
Mr. Ahern,
Approve.
Mr. Bailey,
Approved.
Mr. Belanger,
Approved.
Mr. McCarthy,
Approve?
Mr. Perrin.
Approved.
Okay, you've been approved. You're all set.
Thank you very much.
I hope you can stay there, but
I hope so, too.
you're all set. Thank you very
Have
much.
a wonderful evening.
Have a good evening. Okay, and our last petition this evening is ZB 2012-51. The petition is a variance. The applicant is Bonnie Deneen. Property is located at 279 Wentworth Avenue. And the petition is to convert existing dwelling space into a garage without meeting setback requirements pursuant to section 5.1 of the zoning ordinance. Good evening. How are you?
Good evening, Board. I come before you with the request to, at one time, this property had a grandfather clause that there was a garage attached to the house. It was existing when they built the house. Previous owners did not pull building permits and put a bow window, took the garage door off, left the framework, and put in the bow window, and another owner actually put in a handicap ramp without pulling a permit, which I know was against code. I don't know that much about building, but I do know that it was pretty wiggly, and it was made with particle board, the handicap ramp. I took that down. I purchased the house in May, and it's a beautiful little 1930 cottage. I just feel that the garage should go back to being the garage. It doesn't change the footprint of the house. I submitted plans so you can see that it was always a garage, and they just took the door off, left the frame, and put a bow window in.
Okay. Well, I can tell you one thing, we do talk about, a nice set of plans and a good overview. I was pleasantly surprised with the package, how much information was in there, even from your contractor, so that was very good to see. Yeah, I guess based on the history of the home, basically you'd like to bring it back to what it should be, and I didn't know what was on the other side of the wall, to be quite honest with you. I didn't know if they went in and finished it off, and you just didn't like the look of it, so. You answered my question.
It's an empty space. I walked in when I saw the house, and I went, okay, what's the purpose?
Yep.
They just put a window in this huge open space, no electricals, the electric box was still there. For whatever reason, they used it, and,
Okay. Okay, anything else you'd like to add before we open it up?
No, I would like, yes.
Sure.
I'd like to say that the neighbors are thrilled that I am going to restore the cottage back to what it presently used to look like. And they think that they really didn't like that bow window when it was put in, so they're thrilled that the garage will be back as a garage.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to open it up to the public. Anyone here like to speak? Yeah, in favor? Hearing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. Anyone like to speak opposition? Hearing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. I'd like to open it up to the board. Dennis?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I love the idea of fixing mistakes, and I agree with you that this did seem like a less than ideal scenario of losing the garage on this house. So I think that, and also I think the street does have a situation where the houses are a little close to the street, and so the garages would therefore make sense to be less than the current setback required on that street as well. So I was just wondering, what style door are you putting in on the garage door? Do you have something?
With your permission, I'd love to show you a picture.
I'd love to see it, sure, if that's all right.
The floor is yours, Dennis. Whatever you want.
May I come forward?
Absolutely.
My husband and I were into historic preservation. We had the James W. Mort House on 139 Bloom Street. We restored it back. So we're going to bring it back to 1935 Road.
Well done. That's more than I expected. Very good. I think this will be a big success, and I support this. No further questions.
Are you all set, Dennis? Yeah.
I've seen, I saw what I wanted to see, and I support this. Nice job. Thank you.
Well, I'm glad you're going to leave here a happy man. Kevin?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I think that door design looks great. I don't have any issues with converting that back to a garage. I assume nothing, it was never lived in from, as far as the space, it was just left as a garage and...
It's just left open. I asked the former owners, and the gentleman said to me, "Oh, we put some bookcases in that room and just put our books in there." They never used it. Not
Yeah,
a
I grew
chair,
up-
not a table, nothing.
I grew up not far, I remember it being a garage, actually walking by there going White Hen, so I think it was similar doors Gary and I were just talking about. So good luck with it, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Gary?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I'm very familiar with the property, grew up in the neighborhood as well. Always wondered what went behind that window, and now I've been notified by you that it's just an open space, and I was just wondering that. So I do agree that bringing it back to existing garage, my memory serves that that's the old style garage that I remember as a kid, so I think it's going to look very nice and appropriate for that small cottage, so I wish you the best of luck with that property.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gary. Corey?
Yes, to you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I'm in agreement with my colleagues. I think this is great to restore it back to original condition. But quick question now, what's the width of this garage? Is it big enough for even for a compact anyway?
Yes. When I was doing some research, before I had the building surveyed, the plot surveyed, I noticed that a single-car garage goes in like 12 feet by 22 feet, and I have all of that. It measures... Oh, my. I do have it on one of the spaces, on one of the papers that I gave you. I'm sorry, I don't have it in hand. But I believe it measures like 16 feet or 14 feet by 28 feet inside.
It's
more
14
than
feet
enough.
wide? Yeah?
14 feet, right. It is, because it's the length, it's the width of the driveway, and the driveway is about 15 feet wide.
Okay,
It just makes that, and it fits into that space. And the garage doors, the frame of the garage doors is still on.
Yeah, that's certainly not 14. I know it. So you're going wider than what's?
No,
the
no,
old frame?
I'm not changing
Okay.
the footprint. We're
Oh,
just
okay.
putting
All right.
the garage door back on that frame and that little roof that's over,
Okay.
okay? When I say they, I mean my carpenter, myself. All right.
Wow, okay, I'm wrong in my estimation, didn't look no 14 feet wide to me, but who am I? All right, well, thank you very much, I do support it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Corey. Melissa?
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I have nothing else to add, but I really like the door that you chose, so
Thank you.
good luck with the improvements.
Thank you, Melissa. Van?
The only comment I have is I agree with my colleagues. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Van. And I guess, based on the comments that we received from DPD, which pretty much explained and supported which of the board members have charted tonight, that I would like to have a motion, please.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve ZB 2012-51 for a variance at 279 Wentworth Avenue.
Could I have a second?
Second motion?
Mr. Ahern?
Approve.
Mr. Bailey?
Approved.
Mr. Belanger?
Approve.
Mr. McCarthy?
Approve.
Mr. Perrin?
Approve.
Okay, been approved. We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. I'd like to mention that Halloween, there was some disturbance on the street, and they took down my arbor and destroyed the back of my vehicle. So having a garage is just another safety element for me, because I'm a single woman now living in this house, so anything I can do to protect myself would be great.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other matters any board members have? Hearing none, next meeting, Aaron, is scheduled for,
December the 10th, I believe?
Correct, December 10th.
okay.
2 new items on that agenda.
Yep. And everybody received their package this evening, I assume, yep. Okay, hearing no other comments, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second? So moved. Good evening.